What happens when raw talent meets fearless identity? Today, we're diving into 5 incredible artists who've shaken up the music world, some proudly out, others surrounded by whispers and wonder. From country trailblazers to indie icons, these LGBTQ+ and queer-adjacent singers have carved their own space on the charts, turning personal stories into universal anthems. Whether they're making headlines as proud voices of the community or sparking curiosity with their vibe and art, one thing's for sure, they're impossible to ignore. Stick around, because by the end, you just might discover your next music obsession. Quick question before we jump in. Where are you watching from? Drop your country or city below and tell us which artists on your playlist. We're reading every comment. And hey, don't forget to subscribe to Rainbow Spotlight and hit the bell so you never miss a beat in queer music and pop culture. When Heartstopper premiered, nobody expected it to feel this real. 2 boys, 1 shy smile, 1 hesitant touch, and suddenly, the entire world remembered what first love feels like. Connor and Joe Locke didn't just play Nick and Charlie, they became the heartbeat of a generation that had never seen its tenderness taken seriously. In a landscape obsessed with irony and distance, they offered something far braver: sincerity. Every glance between them carried warmth, fear, and discovery. It wasn't lust or shock value, it was recognition. What makes their connection so unforgettable is how unforced it is. There's no choreography, no polish. When Kit's hand hovers near Joe's, you see hesitation. When Joe finally leans in, you see relief. It's clumsy, beautiful, and completely human. Exactly how real affection begins. Off-screen, the story took on a life of its own. Fans dissected interviews, red carpet moments, and behind-the-scenes laughter, convinced that what they saw couldn't be just acting. But what made their bond powerful wasn't speculation. It was trust. 2 young men navigating sudden fame, learning how to protect each other's boundaries in a world that wanted to claim their narrative. When Kit was pressured to label himself, Joe didn't feed the noise. He simply stood by him. Quiet support, not performative solidarity. A kind of friendship that speaks louder than headlines. Together, they showed that vulnerability is not weakness, it's the start of belonging. Their on-screen kisses became cultural touchstones, not because they were sensational, but because they were safe. They showed millions of queer teens that affection could be gentle, that romance could exist without shame. In every scene, there's an unspoken promise: you deserve this kind of love. As Heartstopper grew, so did they. Joe found his voice as an advocate, graceful but firm. Kit reclaimed his own story with quiet strength. They learned what it means to be visible and still protect your soul. Stylistically, they've become fashion's favorite contradiction. Youthful yet poised, soft lines meeting tailored suits. When they appear together at premieres, there's chemistry without chaos, a balance of pride and peace. They've turned queer representation from performance into presence. What's extraordinary about Kit and Joe is how they changed the rhythm of storytelling. They proved that you don't need scandal to create impact. You just need truth. Their love story, whether purely fictional or echoed in real life, reminds audiences that intimacy can be revolutionary when it's honest. In 2025, they stand as symbols of quiet rebellion. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that listens. They've shown that even in a noisy world, tenderness still cuts the deepest. Because sometimes the most powerful thing 2 people can do is simply look at each other and mean it. Steve Grand, the country rebel who broke the mold. When Steve Grand exploded onto the music scene in 2013 with his viral hit All American Boy, he did something that felt almost impossible at the time. He brought an openly gay narrative into country music, a genre often steeped in conservative tradition. Overnight, the Illinois native went from a little-known singer-songwriter to a national sensation, not just because of his rich vocals and heartfelt lyrics, but because of his courage to tell a story many thought had no place on country radio. The song's music video, portraying an unrequited crush between two men set against a sun-drenched American summer backdrop, struck a deep chord with LGBTQ+ audiences and allies alike. But Steve's rise wasn't just about one viral moment. It was about persistence. He self-funded his debut album, All American Boy, through Kickstarter, raising over $300,000, one of the most successful music campaigns on the platform at the time. In the years that followed, Steve carved a niche as a proudly out-gay country artist, unapologetically blending classic Americana sounds with openly queer storytelling. His songs, like Stay, We Are the Night, and Time, explore universal themes of love, longing, heartbreak, and resilience, but from a perspective rarely heard in the country music world. This willingness to be vulnerable and authentic helped Steve build a fiercely loyal fan base, drawn not just to his music, but to his mission. By 2025, Steve Grand isn't just a symbol of queer representation. He's a seasoned artist who's weathered the ups and downs of fame, evolved his sound, and continued to push for greater visibility. His third studio album, Heartland, released earlier this year, marks a new chapter in his journey, blending country roots with pop sensibilities and even a dash of rock, reflecting his growth both as an artist and as a person. Critics have praised the album for its emotional depth and maturity, with standout tracks like Better Man and Ride or Die already climbing the streaming charts. Offstage, Steve has been a powerful advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, mental health awareness, and suicide prevention, frequently using his platform to speak out on these issues. He's been a regular at Pride events, charity concerts, and advocacy campaigns, reminding his fans that music can heal, unite, and ignite change. For many LGBTQ+ young people, especially those from small towns or conservative backgrounds, Steve represents the possibility of living authentically without giving up your dreams. What makes Steve Grand's story so compelling isn't just his talent, but his quiet defiance. In an industry that often prefers polished images and mainstream appeal, Steve chose honesty over artifice, and in doing so, he opened doors for other queer artists in country and Americana music. Drop a 1 if you've ever had All American Boy on repeat, or a heart if you're inspired by Steve's journey. Duncan Laurence, from Eurovision dreamer to global icon. When Duncan Laurence stepped onto the Eurovision stage in 2019 with Arcade, few outside of the Netherlands knew his name. But the moment he sang that haunting first line, everything changed. His delicate voice, raw emotion, and quietly magnetic presence captivated millions, ultimately winning him the Eurovision crown and propelling Arcade into a global smash hit that would echo far beyond the contest stage. What made Duncan stand out wasn't just his undeniable talent, it was his openness. Shortly after his Eurovision win, Duncan came out as bisexual, joining a new wave of artists redefining what it means to be a pop star. For Duncan, his sexuality wasn't a headline. It was simply part of who he was. And in doing so, he became a symbol of quiet, authentic LGBTQ+ representation in an industry often obsessed with spectacle. But Duncan's story didn't end with Eurovision glory. In the years that followed, he proved he was no one-hit wonder. His debut album, Small Town Boy, cemented his reputation as a master of moody, cinematic pop, blending lush soundscapes with lyrics that cut straight to the heart. Songs like Love Don't Hate It and Sleeping on the Phone showcased a vulnerability that felt rare in today's polished pop landscape. By 2025, Duncan has only grown stronger as an artist. His sophomore album, Brighter Days, released earlier this year, explores themes of love, longing, mental health, and resilience. Critics have praised the album's evolution in sound, blending indie pop with electronic flourishes and lauded Duncan's ability to translate deeply personal experiences into universally relatable anthems. With standout tracks like Electric Hearts and Stay With Me, he's continued to chart across Europe and even made inroads into the US market. Beyond the music, Duncan has embraced his role as an advocate, whether performing at pride festivals, lending his voice to mental health campaigns, or speaking candidly in interviews about love and anxiety. Duncan Laurence has shown that true strength lies in honesty. He's the kind of artist who doesn't just sing about heartbreak. He invites his audience into his own journey of healing, making them feel less alone in the process. Fans around the world love Duncan not just for his songs, but for the way he makes them feel. His live shows are intimate, emotional, and cathartic, a space where people can let go, feel deeply, and be unapologetically themselves. In a world often filled with noise, Duncan offers quiet magic, proving that sometimes the softest voices leave the loudest echo. Drop a 3 if you fell in love with Arcade, or type magic if Duncan's music still gives you chills today. Tom Aspal, the indie pop genius, taking over queer music. Tom Aspal may have spent years behind the scenes as a songwriter for stars like Kylie Minogue and Aluna George, but today he's fully stepped into his own spotlight. And the queer music world is better for it. Born in Wolverhampton, UK, Tom always had the pop instinct, but it wasn't until he launched his solo career that listeners got to hear his authentic voice, one that blends shimmering pop, disco grooves, and deeply personal lyrics. Importantly, Tom is proudly and openly gay, and his music is a joyful, unapologetic celebration of queer identity. His 2020 debut album, Black Country Disco, became an underground sensation, a concept album inspired by heartbreak, hometown nostalgia, and the intoxicating power of disco. With tracks like Tender and Traces, Tom wove a sonic love letter to his roots, set to beats that made listeners want to dance their pain away. Critics and fans alike hailed the album as a fresh, sparkling addition to the LGBTQ+ pop canon. Fast forward to 2025, and Tom Aspal has leveled up yet again. His latest album, Planet Fantastic, released earlier this year, is bigger, bolder, and more confident, blending elements of synth-pop, house, and funk. Songs like Let Go Tonight and Fantasy Crush have become queer club staples across Europe, while his reputation as a sharp lyricist has earned him accolades from major music outlets. With every release, Tom cements himself as an artist unafraid to explore heartbreak, hookup culture, joy, and resilience, all through a distinctly queer lens. What makes Tom's music stand out is its balance between light and dark, sweetness and bite. Whether he's singing about the euphoria of new love or the melancholy of saying goodbye, his songs hit a nerve with anyone who's ever loved deeply and lost bravely. And for queer fans especially, Tom's visibility matters. He's part of a generation of LGBTQ+ artists who refuse to water down their stories for mainstream comfort. Offstage, Tom has become a vocal advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, mental health awareness, and indie artist empowerment. He's known for engaging openly with fans on social media, sharing the ups and downs of his journey, and championing the importance of queer spaces in music. His live shows, often filled with sequins, sweat, and unfiltered joy, are more than just concerts. They're communal celebrations of survival and self-expression. For Tom Aspal, making music isn't just about chasing hits. It's about telling stories that matter, dancing through the heartache, and reminding his listeners that being yourself is the greatest act of rebellion. Drop a 4 if you've danced to Black Country Disco, or type fantasy if you're vibing with his new album right now. Rabel, the heartfelt voice, changing pop. If you've ever heard a song that felt like it was written just for you, raw, intimate, and achingly beautiful, chances are you've stumbled across the magic of Rabel. Born Stephen Rabel, this American singer-songwriter has quietly become one of the most respected voices in pop music. Not because of flashy gimmicks or chart-topping hits, but because of his ability to turn vulnerability into art. And yes, Rabel is proudly and openly gay, and he's never been afraid to weave that truth into his music. Rabel first broke into the mainstream as a songwriter, penning hits for artists like PNK, Kesha, and Adam Lambert. But it was his own music, particularly the heart-wrenching ballad 11 Blocks, that put him on the radar of music lovers around the world. The song, a raw confession of longing and heartbreak, showcased not just his delicate voice, but his rare gift for emotional honesty. Over the years, Rabel has built a devoted following within the LGBTQ+ community and beyond, thanks to songs that cut to the core of what it means to love, lose, and heal. Tracks like The Village became anthems of queer resilience, touching on issues like gender identity, self-acceptance, and the fight for belonging. With each release, Rabel has proven that you don't need to shout to be heard. Sometimes the softest voices leave the deepest impact. In 2025, Rabel reached a new career high with his album, The Intentions Behind the Actions, a collection of lush, soul-bearing songs exploring love in all its messy, beautiful forms. Critics praise the album as his most mature and cohesive work yet, with standout tracks like Back to You and Nothing But a Heartbeat drawing comparisons to the likes of Sam Smith and Sufjan Stevens. For Rabel, this year wasn't just about personal triumph. It was about cementing his place as a vital queer voice in pop music. What's remarkable about Rabel is how seamlessly he blends the personal with the political. He's used his platform to advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, mental health awareness, and suicide prevention, often performing at benefit concerts and pride events across the world. But even as his profile has grown, Rabel has stayed grounded, remaining that rare kind of artist who seems more interested in connection than fame. His live shows are a testament to that intimacy. Fans don't just go to hear Rabel sing, they go to feel seen, to cry in a room full of strangers, to be reminded that they're not alone. That's the power of Rabel's music. It builds bridges, breaks down walls, and reminds us all that love, in all its forms, is worth singing about. Drop a 1 if Rabel's songs have ever made you tear up, or type love if his music is on your playlist right now. And there you have it, 5 incredible LGBTQ+ artists who aren't just making music, they're making history. From country rebels to indie icons, these singers are breaking barriers, rewriting the rules, and giving fans around the world the soundtrack to their lives. But now we want to hear from you. Drop a 6 if one of these artists is already your fave, or type fire if you just discovered someone new to add to your playlist. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video here on Rainbow Spotlight, your go-to channel for the stories, icons, and drama that shape LGBTQ+ pop culture. Thanks for watching, and remember, the future of music is loud, proud, and unapologetically queer.